Let me ask you something. How many times have you looked back at the end of a year and thought, where did the time go? Or worse, what did I even do with it? We live in a world full of distractions, delays, and doubts. It's far too easy to settle into routines that slowly drain our energy and our purpose. But here's the hard truth. Time is the one thing you can never get back. So today, I want to tell you this. Don't waste another year of your life. This isn't about guilt or regret. This is about reclaiming your time, your direction, and your power. The next year of your life can be transformational if you choose to live it with intention. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear. You don't need another January 1st to start over. The decision to change doesn't belong to a calendar. It belongs to you. Let's make this year different. Let's make it count. 1. Set clear, measurable goals. One of the biggest reasons people feel like they've wasted a year is because they never truly knew what they were aiming for in the first place. They drift through weeks and months doing what's expected, reacting to life rather than creating it. But if you want this year to be different, it has to start with clarity. Setting clear, measurable goals is the foundation of personal progress. Vague goals like get healthier, be more productive, or do better might feel good to say, but they're not enough. Why? Because they don't give you direction. They don't give you something you can track, measure, and adjust over time. Instead of saying, I want to get healthier, break it down. What does that actually mean for you? Does it mean losing 15 pounds, running a 5K without stopping, cooking 5 home meals per week instead of eating out? The more specific you are, the easier it is to take action and to know when you're succeeding. Another reason clarity is critical is because it forces you to prioritize. Life will always be busy. Work, responsibilities, and distractions aren't going away. When you have a defined goal, something that really matters to you, it helps you filter out the noise and focus on what truly moves the needle. Now, let's talk about measurability. You can't improve what you don't track. If your goal is to write a book, how many words per week will you write? If you want to read more, how many books this year? If you're trying to save money, how much will you set aside each month? A measurable goal gives you a scoreboard. It tells you whether you're moving forward, standing still, or falling behind. And here's a powerful truth. Clarity creates momentum. The more clearly you define your goal, the more excited your brain becomes to pursue it. It activates something in you. You're not just saying, I hope this year gets better. You're saying, I'm going to finish this online course by August, or I'm going to double my client base by December. Those are targets you can wake up and aim for. Without goals, you exist. With goals, you grow. But even more than setting the goal, write it down. Don't just think about it. Put it in front of you. Post it on your wall, your mirror, your phone background, wherever it will remind you what you're working toward. Studies have consistently shown that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them than those who don't. This isn't just about ambition, it's about direction. It's about giving yourself a reason to get up with purpose. Because when you know where you're going, you're far less likely to waste time, energy, or another entire year. 2. Take responsibility for your time. If there's one thing we all have in common, it's time. Every single person on this planet has 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. The difference lies in how we use it, and more importantly, how much of it we actually own. Taking responsibility for your time means recognizing that you are the ultimate manager of your hours, your days, your life. It's easy to blame busyness, obligations, or other people for why you didn't get something done. But if you're not careful, that mindset turns into a habit. And before you know it, a year slips by and you're still stuck in the same place. It starts with awareness. Do you know how you actually spend your time? Most people don't. They move from one task to the next, bouncing between distractions, and at the end of the day feel exhausted but strangely unfulfilled. That's not a productivity problem, it's a priority problem. Start by tracking your time for just 1 week. Be honest, write down what you do every hour of every day. You'll probably be shocked at how much time goes to things that don't move you forward, endless scrolling, watching just one more episode, getting lost in meaningless conversations, or doing tasks that someone else could easily handle. Those minutes add up to hours, and those hours add up to days, and eventually an entire year can vanish into the void of mindless activity. Taking responsibility means shifting from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. You're no longer just responding to life, you're designing it. You're setting boundaries on your time instead of letting others decide how you should spend it. You're saying, this hour is for me to focus on my goals, and not just I'll see what comes up. This also means learning the power of saying no. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every request needs a yes. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that does. Your time is your most valuable resource. It's more valuable than money, more valuable than talent, and once it's gone forever. Responsibility doesn't mean being rigid or turning into a robot. It means becoming intentional. It means making choices that align with your values and your future. It means creating a schedule that reflects your purpose, not just your to-do list. It also involves setting limits on distractions. Social media, emails, text messages, and news feeds are designed to steal your time and fragment your focus. If you're not vigilant, hours can disappear without you even realizing it. Taking back control means creating time blocks, turning off notifications, and giving yourself space to focus deeply. One of the most liberating things you can do is own your calendar. Don't just fill it with obligations, fill it with priorities. Carve out time for growth, carve out time for rest, carve out time for the things that give your life meaning, because if you don't, your days will be filled with things that don't matter, and you'll end the year feeling like it all just slipped away. Ultimately, taking responsibility for your time is about taking responsibility for your life, because how you spend your time is how you spend your days, and how you spend your days is how your life turns out. 3. Stop waiting for the right time. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll start when the time is right. It sounds wise, it sounds cautious, but in reality, it's often just fear wearing the mask of logic. Waiting for the right time is one of the most dangerous traps you can fall into, because let's be honest, the right time rarely comes. Life will always be busy. You'll always have responsibilities, uncertainties, or things that need fixing. There will never be a perfect stretch of calm, clarity, and comfort where the stars align and the path ahead looks easy. If you're waiting for ideal conditions, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they delay action, they hesitate, they overthink, they let the moment pass, and then another, and before they know it, a year is gone, and the opportunity is too. Starting is often the hardest part. We think we need to have everything figured out before we begin, but progress doesn't come from certainty. It comes from movement. Clarity is more often a result of action, not the cause of it. You learn by doing. You grow by stepping out, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect. Think about the things you've been putting off: a new business idea, going back to school, writing that book, changing careers, ending a toxic relationship, building healthier habits. How long have you been waiting to feel ready? And here's the hard truth: you won't, because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Most of the time, fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of change disguise themselves as bad timing. We tell ourselves, I just need a little more time to prepare, but deep down, it's often about avoiding discomfort, and yet, discomfort is exactly where growth lives. When you stop waiting for the right time, you take back your power. You stop handing your future over to circumstance and start shaping it yourself. You accept that taking action doesn't require perfection. It just requires courage. Even small actions today, not tomorrow, can shift your entire trajectory. Make a call, sign up for that course, wake up an hour earlier, start writing the first paragraph. Take that uncomfortable but necessary step. The moment you take that first step, your mindset shifts from dreaming to doing. And don't underestimate the compounding power of momentum. One tiny step leads to another. One choice creates a ripple. Soon, you're not waiting for the right time, you're creating it. The people who achieve meaningful change don't do it because they had perfect timing. They did it because they decided to start anyway. They pushed through the doubt. They acted despite uncertainty. They refused to let time trickle away while waiting for a moment that would never arrive. Because every day you wait is a day you won't get back. And if you're not careful, you'll keep convincing yourself that someday is just around the corner until one day you run out of some days. Time doesn't owe you a perfect moment, but it gives you this one, and that's more than enough to begin. 4. Say no more often. One of the most powerful and underrated skills in life is the ability to say no. It might sound simple, but for many, it's one of the hardest things to do. Saying no means setting boundaries. Saying no means valuing your time, your energy, and your priorities above pleasing others or avoiding conflict. Why is saying no so important? Because your time and energy are limited. You have a finite amount of hours in the day, and every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, values, or well-being, you're saying no to something else, something better or more important. The problem is, most people are trained to say yes to be helpful, agreeable, and available. We worry about disappointing others, missing opportunities, or looking selfish. But here's the truth: when you say yes too often, you spread yourself too thin. You dilute your focus, you drain your energy, and ultimately, you hurt your ability to be effective and present where it matters most. Saying no is a form of respect for yourself and for your dreams. It's how you protect your priorities from being overtaken by other people's agendas. When you learn to say no, you create space for what really matters. Think about your typical day. How many requests, invitations, or distractions do you face? Meetings, social events, extra tasks, favors for friends or coworkers, endless notifications. Some of these are important, but many aren't. And if you don't have the courage to say no, you end up agreeing to too many things that don't serve your purpose. Learning to say no is also about understanding your limits. Your time isn't just about the hours, it's about your mental, emotional, and physical energy. If you say yes to everything, you risk burnout. You risk becoming so overwhelmed that you can't give your best to anything. But here's the catch: saying no doesn't mean being rude or unkind. It means being clear and honest. You don't have to give long explanations or apologies. A simple, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now," is enough. Practicing this builds your confidence and gradually changes how others expect you to respond. Another benefit of saying no is that it teaches others to respect your boundaries. When you constantly say yes, people come to expect it and may take your generosity for granted. But when you say no, you communicate that your time and goals are important, and they begin to treat you accordingly. Saying no also allows you to say yes more fully to the things that really matter. Imagine if you didn't say yes to every little thing, but reserved your yes for your biggest goals, your closest relationships, and your most meaningful experiences. That's how you create a life that feels rich and intentional. It's not always easy. You may feel guilt, fear, or pressure. You may worry about missing out or disappointing people. But remember, every no is a yes to yourself. It's a commitment to protect your time, your energy, and your future. Mastering the art of saying no is one of the most effective ways to stop wasting time. Because once you start saying no to distractions, irrelevant demands, and things that don't align with your goals, you'll find that your year starts to feel more focused, productive, and meaningful.